This is Royal Manchester Children's Hospital. With around 400 children passing through these doors every day, it's now the biggest hospital of its kind in Britain. Coming up, 6-month-old Daniel needs a growth removed from his neck, but it's risky surgery.
It's going to definitely be the longest 2 hours of my life.
14-month-old Harley is rushed into A&E having a major epileptic fit. And a new way for Dylan and Callum to receive medication could change their lives forever.
It'll be 10 out of 10 not having needles again.
First-time parents Ian and Sarah Platt were ecstatic when they discovered they were having a baby against all the odds. But it turned out to be the start of a really tough time for them.
We got married in 2004. 6 months before we got married, Sarah unfortunately had a stroke. So due to that, with the medication Sarah was on, it wasn't safe for her to become pregnant.
But eventually, doctors gave them the go-ahead to try for a baby.
We were elated that we got pregnant pretty quickly. Happy. I think I rang everybody I knew. I rang everybody in my phone book.
But when Daniel was born, he had a growth on the side of his neck. It isn't cancerous, but it can cause problems.
The main concerns are that it will get bigger and affect his breathing, even his feeding as well.
We all know kids can be quite cruel at school, so I wouldn't want him getting picked on or being called names by his friends or other people in the class.
The family are here today to meet 2 of the hospital's ear, nose and throat surgeons to discuss an operation to remove the growth.
We thought we'd get you back today just to chat about everything that's going on here.
Mike Rotherer and Ian Bruce have 30 years' experience between them. They see about 6 children a year with growths like Daniel's.
The scan confirms that this is a cystic hygroma, which is a congenital collection of lymphatic cysts in the neck. You can see, there is the cyst.
Yeah.
So you can see the size. And our worry is that if it gets bigger, it can disappear into areas that are slightly harder to remove.
Right.
Whereas if we remove it at this stage, we think we've got a much better chance of getting rid of all the cystic structures, so we don't get a problem afterwards with recurrence. The surgery is delicate because there's some nerves in the neck that just run through that swelling.
Right.
It's called the accessory nerve, and it allows you to move this muscle here to go up and down.
Right. The incision in the neck will be sited towards the bottom of the lump because there is a nerve that swings down from here and up towards the angle of the mouth that moves that area of your mouth there. So, of course, that's at risk. If it was permanently damaged, you might notice just a little bit of asymmetry when he smiles or grimaces, just because that bit of around the angle of the mouth won't be moving.
And the risks that we're talking about are very low. It's just we're really keen that you understand what those are, so that it's a joint decision between you guys and us.
Despite the risks, Ian and Sarah are confident their decision to go ahead is the right one.
In the long term, he's going to be a lot better off, and hopefully this will be the end of it and he'll just be a happy, normal toddler.
The hospital's accident and emergency department is open 24/7. A&E staff treat anything from minor cuts and bruises to major trauma cases. Tonight, a baby with diagnosed epilepsy is brought in having a major fit. 14-month-old Harley's mother's normally able to control his condition at home, but she's already given him medication, and after 45 minutes, he's still fitting.
We'll get some access in him and see what we can find. Short fits, which are very common, are not a problem, but this is a different sort of thing. This is what we call status epilepticus. His brain electrics are firing off in all different directions. This is a life-threatening condition, and unless you stop that, that child is at risk of death. It's actually quite heavy on the diazepam already. He's already these 2 doses in here. Should we go straight for formaldehyde?
Give him formaldehyde, yep.
Good.
Professor Simon Carley's in charge of the department today. He and the team are giving Harley a barrage of drugs to try and stop the fitting.
doesn't seem to be stopping, so then we move on to the next stage, which is phenytoin.
They need to urgently get the medication into Harley's bloodstream via a vein in his arm, but he's shaking so violently the line keeps coming out.
Right, Mum, struggling to get into the veins. Quickest way we can do it now is to actually put a little needle into the bone. It looks terrible, it involves a drill. I want the fits to stop. I'm a bit worried about the going on for such a long period of time. OK, so I think we need to get on and do that.
It looks brutal, but with time running out, drilling into Harley's shin bone is the quickest way to get the medication into his bloodstream.
All right, darling. All right, sweetheart. I know.
It's good.
The procedure's not as painful as it sounds, but it's more than Harley's mum can take.
It looks awful, but honestly, it's just like a big drip into the poor little man. The week started to slow down. Yeah. We have a bit, haven't we? Good.
The drugs have finally started to work.
When he stopped fitting, I think everybody in that room breathed a sigh of relief, because we were already a long way down what we could do, and the next stage was probably going to be a full anaesthetic and off to intensive care. So you're thinking, this kid's really in trouble here. The emergency's over, he's breathing well, he's responding to Mum, his heart's beating well, he's got good circulation. We're a lot happier than we were.
Harley's now transferred up onto the ward to recover. 24 hours later, he's stable and awake.
He's looking a lot better now. Yeah. Hopefully he should be better and we can go home soon. And all the doctors and nurses have all been great. Been really great.
The hospital will provide Harley with ongoing care, and A&E staff are available around the clock if he and his mum ever need them.
Cal, yes to me!
11-year-old Dylan Richmond and his 9-year-old brother Callum are in the hospital's gym, trying to beat their physiotherapists at a game of hockey.
No more Mr. Nice Richmonds.
The brothers both have cystic fibrosis, a life-threatening condition which affects 1 in 2,000 children in the UK. It means their lungs don't work properly.
Cystic fibrosis fills your lungs with gunk and stuff, and it makes your lungs less space to breathe in and out. I wish I really didn't have it, but there's no cure, so you just got to live with it.
The hospital successfully manages the brothers' illness by bringing them in 4 times a year for a course of drug treatment and intensive physiotherapy.
I think it went quite good, good result. We beat them. They knew we were going to win deep down because I said no more Mr. Nice Callum. Me and Callum are good as a team.
But the brothers' success in the gym comes at a price. For their antibiotics to be effective, staff must pump them directly into their bloodstream. A tube 20 centimetres long is fed up through their arm and into one of the main veins in the body.
I don't like needles.
Right, Callum, are you ready? Go on then.
Because they're really sharp and they dig into your skin and it's really not a pleasant sight. I do scream, I have to admit that, but I just feel like, why do we have to have this in? It's not fair on us.
It's a painful procedure, and Callum normally needs sedation, but today he's going to try to do without.
I can either hold a stress ball or this, which is my little dog. And there's a special gas called Entonox, and some people call it laughing gas, and it makes you laugh.
It's going to take a few minutes to start working and then it'll make you feel really giddy. OK.
Cystic fibrosis nurse specialist Janice and the team will help Callum get through his treatment.
Big breath. All the way to your toes.
Ow!
That's done. Big deep breath. Another deep breath.
Super spotty.
Deep breath. Hold your mouth, Pete.
Oh, I like that.
Well done. Want a sticker?
All right, well done, mate.
Although the brothers have learnt to be incredibly brave, it's a gruelling treatment which isn't going to get any easier.
They cope really well, but it becomes more difficult over time because they've been having them for many, many years the veins can become scarred, so either it's traumatic for them or it's actually difficult to get the line in, full stop. Just got to put the plasters on, so just keep nice and still.
But now the hospital has a solution. The boys are going to have an operation to fit a device under their skin called a portacath that should mean no more procedures like this.
It's taken quite a while to talk them into having it done, and I think they're quite worried and quite frightened by it. But usually, most children that go down the route of having a portacath never look back and wish they'd had it done years ago.
In 10 days' time, the brothers will have a whole new challenge to face, but as always, they have each other for support.
We know that we've both got to do it, and it's not just one of us, which is quite good. It's going to be a whole new experience.
Right, do you want a sticker? A red one for United?
Yeah.
Cool.
Here at the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital, Ward 85 is home to brothers 11-year-old Dylan and 9-year-old Callum, and they're enjoying life to the full despite suffering from the chronic condition cystic fibrosis.
They were diagnosed 9 years ago, so, well, you just have to get used to it.
But with so many injections needed to keep them healthy, their veins are beginning to collapse, making hospital treatment extremely traumatic. Today, cystic fibrosis nurse specialist Janice is about to show them a device called a portacath that should give staff easier access to their veins.
Janice.
We're going to talk to the boys about having a portacath put in today so that we can talk them through any worries that they might have. I think the main worry with children is the altered body image. Hi. If suddenly they've got a permanent device in, then it means that they have to explain to the peers and the family and the friends what it is that they've got in, and that can sometimes bring to the forefront the fact that they've got a chronic illness. So we're going to talk about portacaths today. A portacath is also called, it's really long words, it's totally implantable venous access device, which is, I know, that's why we call it a portacath, as it's a lot shorter, or a port. And it's a permanent device that goes under the skin, so you need to have an operation to have it put in. So this is the port, and that bit sits under the skin like this. Can you see that one's quite a bit bigger there? And it gets stitched into around your muscle area, and then over time it just becomes embedded in your tissues. And then this bit here gets threaded into one of your large veins and goes somewhere near your heart. And you'll have a little bump depending on how much fat you've got over your bump. You've not got so much, so yours will stand out a little bit.
I feel that sometimes my friend might make fun of me. Like, you know, when you're getting undressed for PE, they might call me stuff, names like lumphead or something. If it gets knocked, does it damage the portacath?
It can damage it. You have to look after it really, really carefully so that it lasts for many, many years. You shouldn't play heavy contact sports like rugby, kickboxing. You can still play football, but you just have to be careful.
Are you allowed to play golf?
You can play golf.
Now the boys understand what the portacaths will mean for them, they're ready for the operation and looking forward to the benefits.
It'll be 10 out of 10 not having needles again.
Supported by Mum and Dad, the brothers make their way to theatre, hoping that this operation will transform their experience of hospital. On Ward 76, 6-month-old Daniel's about to have major surgery. He's having a large growth known as a cystic hygroma removed from his neck. It's not cancerous, but it is in a delicate part of the body, and his mum and dad, Ian and Sarah, are understandably nervous.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be the longest 2 hours in my life. I'm very, very stressed at the minute.
Ian and Sarah are putting all their faith in ear, nose and throat surgeon Ian Bruce. He knows all about the dangers of leaving a growth like this untreated.
Daniel's cystic hygroma is in a place where it can begin to push the structures around your voice box and your airway to the other side, which can lead to some airway obstruction. And certainly, as he goes to primary school, he can become increasingly self-conscious, it can affect self-esteem, and those are the things we want to avoid.
But this is challenging surgery. Shoulder nerves that run through the neck.
Really, really gently. That's it.
If he does, Daniel's ability to smile and move his face could be severely affected.
Just carefully dissecting around the cystic hygroma. You can see there this fluid-filled large cyst.
2 hours into the operation, the team get a nasty surprise.
It's filling most of this side of the neck, which is what's causing the problem.
The growth has spread much further than previously thought. Mr. Bruce must now make a difficult decision. If he removes it all, Daniel's facial muscles could be seriously damaged. But if he leaves some more of it in, it could grow back.
It's a lot more extensive than we thought it would be, going up really into an area that's pretty dangerous to dissect, and it's very good to get a second opinion in those situations.
Joining him at the table is Mike Rothera, who has 25 years' experience in head and neck surgery.
There, wow.
Yeah.
So close to a lot of important clockwork here.
Yeah.
The facial nerve that's going to supply the face is just running under there. And you've got to eventually realise that there's a limit to what you can do.
Both surgeons agree they're not willing to further risk damaging Daniel's face.
I think to take that out will put Daniel at quite considerable risk. So we've decided to remove the vast majority of it and just leave a small area at the top.
We've had to work very close to all these nerves, so there may be some facial weakness, there may be some change in the voice afterwards, but we know the nerves are intact, we know we've not damaged them.
Yeah, he's got a cannula in his left.
Well, it's taken a bit longer than we thought, because it was quite a lot more extensive. To the extent that I've had to leave a little bit in there, right at the top.
Right.
Okay.
To take that out was going to put a significant risk to the nerve of the face
Right.
in particular,
Right, okay.
and the chances of it coming back are very, very small.
Right.
But the rest of it, absolutely fine. It's come out beautifully. Okay.
In a couple of days, doctors will be able to assess how well Daniel's facial and shoulder movements are working following the operation. Four weeks ago, brothers Dylan and Callum both had an operation to fit a device called a portacath to help them receive medication for their cystic fibrosis.
This is the part of it is known as the totally implantable venous device. As you can see, it's well hidden and you can only see a lump. The idea of a lump of plastic or metal inside you, it's just really just freaky.
It's going to take a bit of getting used to, but it will give nurse specialist Janice instant access to the main blood vessels in their body without the painful process of trying to find a vein.
We were struggling because the veins had become scarred. It was difficult to get IV access and it was becoming more traumatic for the boys. It shouldn't be painful at all, although I know that they're both worried about having the procedure done.
I'm feeling really nervous, yeah. Nervous is the word I'd use to describe it.
5,
Right, on 9, I'm going to get it ready to come near you and you just need to
6.
breathe through it.
7, 8.
That's it, blow it away.
Number 9.
No.
Number 9. Number 9. Number 10. Good
So you didn't even
boy.
feel
well
it?
done. Well
Dylan,
done. Well
you
done.
didn't
well
even
done.
feel it, did
Number
you?
10. It's there. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, it's done. Gone.
I think he'll be fine next time he has it done. It's just the fear of the unknown the first time.
I think it's going to be better than having needles in my arm when I get used to it.
The boys will come into the hospital 4 times a year for a course of antibiotics administered via the port.
8, 9,
8, 9,
10. Done. Oh, it's done. It's done.
Took about 2 seconds. And no pain.
With the ports up and running, Dylan and Callum can now look forward to years of pain-free treatment, which will really improve their quality of life. 3 days ago, baby Daniel had a growth removed from his neck, an operation that risked damaging his smile and ability to move his face.
I'm not a trained chimp.
Today, consultant surgeon Ian Bruce is going to check his facial and shoulder movements.
You just smile.
Fantastic. You can see the wound there, so it's healing beautifully. The muscles of the face are moving normally. The resting tone in his left upper eyelid is slightly reduced, and you can just see that subtle difference between the two eyes, and that's reflecting the fact that he's got some bruising of a nerve called the sympathetic chain. But I know that nerve's intact, so that's going to recover. I'm very confident of that. So I'm really happy with everything, and he's doing brilliantly, isn't he?
He is, yes.
So we'll miss his smiles.
Oh, no.
Bless you.
You were very relieved there'd been no damage, because they were the main concern going into the operation. But his shoulder seems fine. His mouth certainly not affected. He's smiling and giggling away to himself. So yeah, no, we're very happy with the results. Can't wait to get home now, can we, lad?
Daniel's given the all clear to go home. He'll be back for checkups, but he shouldn't need any more surgery. He can now look forward to a healthier future.
Good.